everybody. I just wanted to say Merry Christmas. I didn't really expect to do an episode today, and this isn't really a real episode. I don't have any guests today. It's just me, and we're not really going over birth stories or birth topics or anything. This is more so just a fun little bonus holiday episode. Just because, we do release our podcast every Monday, and this year Christmas happens to be on a Monday. So happy Monday, happy Christmas. Although I'm sure most of you probably aren't listening to this on Christmas. I'm sure you're with your families and just celebrating. So whenever you do listen to this, or if you do listen to this, I hope it just brings you a little bit of holiday cheer and a little bit of birthday / Christmassy fun. And so really all I'm going to do today, just here for a few short minutes, is talk about some Christmas memories I have in relation to, pregnancy, childbirth, or like the newborn season. So I have had 5 babies now, and I know you don't know my 5th birth story yet, but that will eventually come out later in 2024. But I have been pregnant at all different times of the year. So I've had babies at all different times of the year. So my very first pregnancy, I was due in January. So I was like really big pregnant at Christmas. I was had less than a month to go. And I really was just in that stage, of like being uncomfortable all the time. And it was winter, so I had all these layers. And every time you had to go to the bathroom, you had to, undo all the layers and redo all the layers and all of that stuff. But I was actually a school teacher at the time. I was teaching 1st grade at a public charter school here in Greensboro. And I came down with a nasty case of bronchitis. That's when school was still in session, but it was probably like the week before winter break. And I felt bad because we were about to go out on break for 2 weeks, but I had to call out sick. And I remember going to my OBGYN actually and being like, what do I do about this? Is there anything I can take? Is there anything I can do? And basically they were like, best thing is, just to stay home, rest, fluids, like the typical stuff. So I was home by myself because we didn't have any kids. My husband was at work, super pregnant with bronchitis. And I will never forget this. I have maybe I should say have had a phobia of needles, and particularly flying needles, which would be all insects that sting, like bees and yellow jackets and hornets and wasps and all of the nasties. But anyways, I was at home, and I have no idea how this happened, but in the middle of December, a wasp flew into my house, and I was 8 months pregnant, so super emotional. I was big, so super big belly, uncomfortable. I had bronchitis, so I didn't feel good, and I was already kind of in a bad mood. And then a wasp flew into my house. And I called my husband, who was in the middle of a meeting at work, and I said, you have to come home. You have to come and kill this wasp, because I was so petrified. You have to understand. Like nowadays, I would not be happy if a wasp flew into my house, and I would probably still call my husband and be like, hey, you have to kill this wasp whenever you get home. But back then I was just on a whole nother level. So I made him drive 25 minutes to the house to kill this wasp. And he didn't even turn the car off. He pulled the car in the driveway, came around the back door, like left the car running, came around the back door, I don't know if he grabbed a shoe or what, but he just like walked in, slammed it, like killed the wasp, and walked back out. Didn't even say anything. And then just walked back out to his car and drove back to work and went back to his meeting. And I think he never lets me forget that, of how ridiculous that sounds, because it took like an hour out of his day to do that. But I'll never forget that, because I feel like he saved me, because I was in what felt like such a vulnerable spot. But anyways, it was Christmas time, so I was just trying to rest up on the couch, watching Christmas movies and probably trying to drink something warm. But anyways, so that same Christmas, so I got better from the bronchitis and, had like a decent next couple of weeks until Christmas Eve. And then on Christmas Eve, I came down with the norovirus, and you know what that means. So all of the stomach issues, both ends, it was terrible. And I remember for Christmas Eve dinner, I had a roll, and that was it. And it was just my husband and I at our house, like nobody else was there. So he brought me home a roll from like some restaurant on the way home from Christmas Eve service. I didn't even go to service because I was so sick. And then the next morning, we had to drive from Greensboro, North Carolina to Columbus, Ohio on Christmas Day. And I still had the norovirus. And so we had to stop like so much, probably it just felt like every other exit. I was like, you have to stop. Like I have to go to the bathroom and it was terrible. And I mean, again, picture I'm 8 months pregnant and it's winter and it's cold and I have all the layers and I'm pregnant and I'm doing all the things in the bathroom. I mean, it was awful. And I remember his parents were his sister-in-law was having everybody over for Christmas dinner that night. And everyone's like all dressed up and, well, not like super fancy, but, wearing regular clothes and looking decent. And I'm in like big sweats and like a big hoodie and just like curled up on the couch, like Merry Christmas, everybody. I do not feel good. So yeah, man, that was no fun. That was my very first Christmas experience being pregnant, and it was not a great one. Moving on to better memories. My second baby, I was not pregnant at Christmas, but I had a newborn at Christmas. So my second was born in mid-November. So about a month in, celebrating the Christmas season, I was definitely in that newborn fog where I couldn't remember anything and I couldn't tell which day it was. And because he was not a great sleeper. I mean, he slept, but he just got up so much like to eat. He ate like every hour and a half and it just was exhausting. But I also remember it being really sweet. So it was like, yes, I had the fog and I was exhausted and all the, early postpartum stuff, but I also got like the sweetest, baby snuggles and a big baby just sleeping on your chest. And, you're just watching a Christmas movie, or even on Christmas Day, I remember wearing him in the Moby wrap, just like pretty much all day, just walking around with him. And he was so snuggly and so big. He was my big boy. But he was, only a month and a half. So he was so floppy still, but, he was, that was a sweet Christmas, a foggy Christmas. So I remember being on the struggle bus when it came to like getting gifts for people and wrapping them. Cause I was just like constantly nursing this baby. And of course I had my 3-year-old she was almost 3, running around, which made everything that much harder. But I don't know. There's just nothing like a Christmas snuggle, like a Christmas newborn snuggle with a baby. It's just that much. It makes Christmas that much sweeter. And then my third child, I was pregnant at Christmas with my third child, but I was in early pregnancy. So I was extremely sick, so nauseous. And this was I'll call it unplanned pregnancy, if you will. So I did not plan to be pregnant and nauseous and throwing up at Christmas, but I was. So I remember like Christmas Eve was like the first time I really did anything with myself and left the house for Christmas Eve service. I remember like finally like putting clothes on and putting makeup on, and because I think I'd been throwing up for like a month and a half at that point, and it was awful. But I did go to Christmas Eve service. I made it. We took a picture, and then I came home and got like right back into sweats. But I remember I was so sensitive to smells, which is kind of my life story. But I ended up sitting right by the fireplace and like huffing the fireplace. Like all I wanted to smell was the fireplace because it was the only thing that smelled good to me and that didn't make me want to throw up. So I remember sitting right next to the fireplace like all throughout Christmas and just sniffing and sniffing and sniffing the fireplace. So yeah, not a fun Christmas there, but by that summer, it was great. Had a baby. Then let's see, baby number 4, so I was in like a nice pregnant spot at Christmas time with him. He was in my belly, but I wasn't nauseous anymore. And I also wasn't like big fat pregnant yet. So I was in like the happy second trimester, super fun part of pregnancy that Christmas. And I actually really, really loved that. That was probably my favorite. And also I just think there's something so precious about being pregnant at Christmas and being pregnant with a boy at Christmas. And it just makes me think of Mary. Like it just makes me think of Mary and how she was pregnant with Jesus at Christmas, and like just thinking about her and how she had to like make that really long trip, and just how she had to like where she had to labor and give birth. And it's just like, puts things into perspective. And, the 2021, which is the year, or I guess that was in 2020, but it's just super special carrying a sweet little boy in your belly right at Christmas time. It just makes me relate so much to Mary. And then, let's see, number 5 is actually happening right now. So I was not pregnant at Christmas this time, but I do have a newborn. He is 2 months old. And I would say that newborn fog is lifting. We've kind of gotten into a rhythm. My brain is definitely not all the way back by any means. I am forgetting things a lot and things are slipping through the cracks. And let's see, I'm recording this on December 12th. And for all of you Enneagram 1 super perfectionist people, you can breathe a sigh of relief now because you're hearing this on Christmas Day and it's all done and over. But I have yet to buy a single Christmas present. So like, don't even think about wrapping. I haven't even gotten anything for anybody yet, but I have been holding my baby and baking lots of cookies and watching Christmas movies and just doing Christmassy fun seasonal stuff. So I just haven't gotten around to getting any gifts yet, but I will. It's on my to-do list for this upcoming weekend. So no worries. But again, you're hearing this on Christmas Day. So by now everyone's probably opened their gifts and it's all said and done. But I do love a baby's first Christmas. I especially love that every time we've had a new baby, whether it be, around Christmas or just earlier in the year, all of our children's grandparents get them a baby's first Christmas ornament. And then Chris's parents get them this bell, like a silver bell that winds up and it plays some type of Christmas song, and they come out with a new one every year. And I think, man, I can't remember what company it is that makes those. Hallmark, maybe? I don't know. I don't remember. But anyway, so my kids each have a bell from the year that they were born that we set out like as decoration at Christmas. And then, of course, the ornaments we decorate the tree with. And, we get, baby's first ornament from a bunch of grandparents. So, there's like 5 more ornaments to put on the tree whenever we have a baby, which is so sweet and fun. And the kids are always so excited to see what's it going to look like, because they all look pretty different. So anyways, that's just always an exciting time. A baby's first Christmas is always just a super sweet, special time. And my husband and I laugh because the kids are like, well, what are you going to get him for Christmas? And I'm like, a passy. Like, I don't know. There's really nothing that the baby needs. So we don't really get him anything, but a passy. I said, that'll be fine. We'll put a passy in his stocking and call it a Christmas. But anyways, that's all I really have for you guys today. This was just a little fun bonus, Christmassy episode that, most of you probably won't listen to, but that's okay. I hope you guys all have a very Merry Christmas, and we will be releasing an episode next week on New Year's Day. That is an actual birth story episode that you're not going to want to miss. It's awesome. I loved interviewing with her. So I will hopefully be talking to y'all next week. Have a great Christmas.